Hi everybody, my name is Eric Foxman of Balanced Personal Training, and today I want to share with you 7 tips so you can start living a healthy and fit lifestyle. So let's start with number 1, and the first thing is to identify your goals. What are you aiming to do? Maybe it's lowering your blood sugar. Maybe you're training for a triathlon. Maybe you're trying to lose 30 or 40 pounds. But the first thing you want to do before you start exercising and eating different and all that kind of stuff is to figure out what it is that you want to achieve. And then we can start figuring out a plan of action to get there. And along with your goals, before you start any kind of a nutritional plan or any kind of a workout program, make sure you consult with your physician before making any major changes. So again, back to the first one. The first is, what are you aiming towards? What's the target? Number 2 is eating more small, frequent meals throughout the day. So that's really all about metabolism. And if we're trying to be healthier, have a better energy level throughout the day, if you're just eating one meal a day, the body's going to be shocked by trying to take in too many calories and process everything at once. But if you go and you have a meal and then 2-3 hours later you have a snack and then a couple hours later you have another meal, you're adding fuel to your tank, and that's going to be more even throughout the entire day. So just try to think about metabolism. And as we get older, our metabolism slowly slows down. And so by having more frequent meals, you can speed it back up. It's like adding kindling to the fire, and then you're always just adding little bits of wood to keep it going. Well, what happens if you let that fire die down and then you put a big wet log on it, like a big piece of cheesecake? Well, then you're going to snuff out your fire. So I suggest to people that at least get your 3 square meals a day, no matter what. And then if you can, try to get some type of a snack or a small meal between breakfast and lunch, and then between lunch and dinner. So all about metabolism. Well, that takes us to number 3, which is, well, what are you eating? How much should I be eating? So some people kind of say, we shouldn't be counting calories. I should just be able to eat as much protein as I want. Well, most diets are just that. They're fads, they're trends. These aren't lifestyle changes that you're going to be doing over the long haul. You do want to be paying attention to total calorie intake, okay? On average, you should take in roughly about 10 calories per pound of body weight. If you weigh 175 pounds, your body probably burns around 1,750 calories a day. Now, with that in mind, let's say you're 250 pounds and you want to get down to 200, then you would probably eat around 2,000 calories a day. It's not an exact science, and with that, there are different types of calories. You have fat calories, protein, and carbohydrates. Most people are way too what I call carb rich. There's way too many fun beverages, whether it's alcoholic drinks or sodas. There's lots of breads and pastas and rice and potatoes and starches, all the stuff that tastes really good, right? But those carbohydrates affect our blood sugar and our insulin level, give us cravings to eat more carbs. So I have a saying that carbs beget carbs. The more carbohydrates you eat, the more you want to eat. So with that, I would say try to kind of either reduce the amount of carbs or change the types of carbohydrates. So instead of having white bread in your sandwich, go and get I was thinking about Classen's Bakery, which is by us in Middleton, and go get some a high fiber, multi-grain, something with seeds and nuts, and get a real nice, hearty, chewy bread. And it makes the sandwich, I think, taste a lot better. The fiber will slow down how quickly carbs get turned into sugar and affect your blood sugar. And fiber is really good at filling you up. So when it comes to total calories, you want to look at your protein, you want to look at fat, you want to look at carbohydrates. People, I think, are way too much on this big, I gotta have a couple 100 grams of protein a day. It's hard on the liver, it's hard on the kidneys. Even if you are exercising a lot, we don't need that much. And when it comes to fat, if you're cooking in olive oil, that's great. but I don't think you need to go out of your way and say, oh, I need to have, a quarter cup of coconut oil, on my eggs in the morning. Just try to have your protein sources a little bit leaner. Okay, that's where a lot of the fat comes from. If you reduce the types of processed foods and you're not eating all these entomins that are high of preservatives and sugar and fat, and you have things that are a little bit fresher, a little more raw, you're basically heading in the right direction. So there have been multiple seminars and books about this, but the idea is calories matter, and try to keep an eye on having lean proteins, relatively low fat, and when you do your carbohydrates, try to have them be fibrous carbs, mostly your vegetables, some fruits, and then your whole grains, things like that. So we're going to look at number 4, and living a healthy and fit lifestyle. That fitness part means exercise. And people go, okay, I have to start jogging 10 miles a day. Well, there's different components to fitness and exercise, and the ones that we think about the most would be a cardio component, doing your walking, jogging, cycling, kayaking, hiking, whatever it might be, or some type of a sport. And then resistance, weight resistance, which would be lifting weights, going to the gym, whether it's doing machines, free weights, what have you. And then the third part is a flexibility component, and that is doing stretching. And the stretching can be built into the exercises. It could be static stretches that you do at the end of the workout. It could be dynamic stretches. And again, I'm just trying to give you an introduction to all of these components. Each one of these things, there have been multiple books and seminars talked about. I just want you to start thinking, so as you go along your journey of health and fitness, and you're learning and experimenting and exploring, you understand what these pieces are. So again, when it comes to exercise, I get the question, how many days a week should I be exercising? Well, it depends on your lifestyle. If you have a very sedentary lifestyle, maybe you start with 2 days of walking, and you're walking 20 minutes each time. And if you're saying, well, I'm training for this event, I'm going to do a Spartan, a triathlon, a bodybuilding competition. If you're already going in that direction, that's when you're fine-tuning it, and you're going, okay, I should be doing weight resistance 4 times a week and my cardio 5 times a week, because that's putting you in that direction of what your goal is. And that's what I suggest people do all the time. Err on the side of caution, start with less, and then you can just kind of ratchet it up. And in that way, you also reduce your chances of getting injured. Very often, especially New Year's, people go to the gym and they wind up overdoing it. They overdo their commitment, they're exhausted, they're not recovering properly, and they wind up injuring themselves. But if you're only doing a couple days a week of a moderate low intensity, your body will recover, and then you can say, oh, I'm enjoying this activity, or I think I can add another day or a different set of exercises and move yourself forward. So, quick little recap. 1, we're talking about what your aim is, your goals. 2, metabolism and eating several small meals a day. 3, calories count. Make sure you look at your protein and your fat and carbohydrates. And 4, the different types of exercises that are available to you. And part of that is, what do you like to do and what can you do? I tell every single one of my clients, when it comes to lifting weights, if they are either daunted by the idea of doing a barbell bench press, or they've had some previous rotator cuff injury, they don't need to do bench press. It's not an absolutely necessary thing. It looks cool on YouTube and people are easily impressed by what they see. But if you never do it, it's okay. There's lots of other things out there to take its place. So number 5, I alluded to this just a minute ago, but it's about recovery. Rest, recovery, sleep. My oldest brother, who is just a big, strong beast of a guy, one of the things he gets asked pretty often is, how are you so strong? And along with saying, I eat a lot, that's my Ken voice, but he eats a lot, but he says, I prioritize my sleep, that he will get to bed and rest and recover Because if you try to exercise and maybe you're eating a little bit cleaner, which should give you more energy, but you aren't getting proper rest, your muscles aren't recuperating. Your brain's not processing the day's events. So resting is crucial to healing it and making improvements. So make sure that you are resting, but also sleeping is really important. And I think sometimes people busy themselves doing lots of things and they wind up saying, oh, I only slept 4 or 5 hours last night, and then they do it again, and they're just running at a 60% efficiency. And then you get a good night's sleep and you come to work out and you're like, man, I feel great. Okay, so if you can, I know life isn't by design perfect, prioritize your sleep and get that recovery. So number 6 is stress management. I bring this up because we are stressing our bodies out with lots of things. Your body gets stressed by the foods you eat. If you're eating foods that are high in fat, or they have a lot of processed, a lot of preservatives, the things we drink, too much alcohol, very hard on the liver. So just the types of foods can stress the body, make your GI system work harder. If you're carrying a lot of weight on your frame, your heart and lungs and your blood vessels, everything is working harder. So you're stressing your body in that way. Also, you stress your body by your workouts, and depending on the type of workouts, the intensity, the duration, the frequency, your muscles are stressed. And I know that kind of goes in line with rest and recovery and sleep, but that's something you really have to pay attention to. And then also, you have to manage the stress based on what you see and what you hear. And if you are on this journey to being healthy and fit, and sometimes there are people, I call them the naysayers, who, maybe it was your friend you would be going to the bars with, and you're like, you know what, I'm trying to be a little bit healthier. How about instead of we go every Friday, how about we go every third Friday? You never know, that person may not be super supportive because they're losing their bar friend, okay? And they might kind of say, why are you doing that? Well, that negativity can work its way into people's minds and affect their health and fitness routine. So just be aware of what you listen to, what you're watching. That's really, really important. And the last thing is just having fun. If you find that, going for that walk because you know it's good for you, but you're not having fun doing that walk, possibly over time, it'll become more fun. As you go walk in that neighborhood, maybe you're enjoying looking at the architecture of houses or the landscaping, or you're on a treadmill in your house and you're listening to Pandora in your favorite radio station. Don't turn on the news. That's not going to help with your breathing and your stress. So keep the news off. Maybe you have an audiobook or just a regular book that you're reading, but make fitness fun. That's why I tell people that whatever you do, whatever activities or groups of activities you do, make sure you enjoy them. Don't feel that it has to be one thing, that it has to be just going to the gym or just yoga or just tennis. Make it a combination of things. One, that's a form of cross-training, and your body will really be happy doing a variety of movements, variety of activities. But also, what happens if you are in a tennis league and for some reason it gets canceled, or the tennis clubs close down, or it's winter time and you can't play tennis because they've pulled up the nets at all the outdoor courts. What else are you doing? What other types of activities do you have going on? So just make it fun. So if you have any questions, I'm always available. You could always check out my website at balancepersonaltraining.com. And again, thanks so much.